We are here to bring a new type of news show.
New insight, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Monday, June 9th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin and you're watching News Generation. Joining us today is Ki Kim.
Happy Monday!
Happy Monday. And Brooke Prince.
Hello, happy to be here.
Happy to have you. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. So Monday is when we discuss topics trending among young people here in Korea. Now, along with the words we type, there's something else we often rely on in our digital messages, and that is, of course, emojis. These tiny graphic icons are meant to enhance expression and make communication more nuanced. But lately, emojis have become a surprising source of confusion, especially across generations. So today on News Generation, we're going to unpack the so-called emoji controversy. So starting off our discussion today, I want to ask you guys, how often do you use emojis in your messages?
Do I call you first or do I send you a text message first?
Well, based on my experience, I think you're more of a phone call person.
Yes, I am. I call. But just texting can seem a bit cold, so I use emojis quite often. But it depends on who you're talking to. If it's related to work, of course, I wouldn't use any emoji, especially with my clients, as it would look less serious. Once you get closer, though, I sometimes use maybe smiley face. With KakaoTalk, the messenger used by pretty much all Koreans, as it offers so many different character emoticons, I use them quite often. But again, that's with my friends or very close work associates. What I like about KakaoTalk, though, they recently added a feature where you can leave like, love, smile, sad, or check on the messages that's been sent. So it sort of helps ending a conversation easily when and then you don't have to feel awkward or when you feel like you don't know what to say toward the end of your conversation with someone.
My favorite feature.
Me
I love
too.
that feature.
And also, KakaoTalk has this limitless emoji subscription service, which I personally subscribe to because I'm a huge fan of emojis. Now, what about you, Brooke?
Well, I have a confession to make, and everyone in my life already knows this, but I am not a good texter. So you've got two people on the panel today that prefer talking in person or on the phone.
Well, I guess I'm the only one.
Oh, you're a big texter?
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, not me, definitely. I definitely prefer to talk in person. I basically just use texting as a way to arrange a meeting so that we can talk in person. But I've learned living in Korea for almost 10 years now that texting culture is quite important here. It really defines relationships. So it's something I've had to work on. And thankfully, emojis and emoticons have helped me a lot because I feel like it just kind of softens your tone a little bit. It can feel abrupt to just end a sentence with a period. So I use emojis a lot. And like you mentioned, KakaoTalk has so many adorable emoticons. I also subscribe to the service every month so that I can just have my pick of them. I'm a cat person, so I just get all of the cat ones that I could possibly download. And similarly, I feel like people, they get emoticons that kind of match their personalities or their interests. So if you're one of those people that you like to find out about a person, maybe buy gifts sort of tailored to their likes, if you pay attention to their emoticons, I think you can find out a lot about a person.
Right. So as Brooke mentioned, there are a wide variety of emojis, which really shows how much emoji use has become widespread globally. But in some countries, we're actually seeing emojis sparking generational conflict, which is quite fascinating. So Brooke, can you explain to us what that's about?
Yes, so I did some research for today and found an article that went through some of the shifts in emoji meanings over time. And I was familiar with a lot of these because I am chronically online. I do a lot of doom scrolling, so I'm pretty aware of what the kids are using these days. But some of them surprised me. So let's see if any of them surprise you. So we're going to start with this smiley face. Now you might look at this and think, well, it's just a normal smile, right? But to me, I look at the eyes. The eyes look a little kind of blank, right? So it's kind of soulless.
Without emotions.
Yes, and so that's why this is being used as sort of a passive-aggressive symbol amongst the Gen Z. And so that's one emoji where the meaning is a little bit different. I have seen also the upside-down version of this being used in the same way. The next one I want to show you is the skull emoji. Now you might think danger or warning, but a lot of people, including myself, use this to mean I'm dying of laughter. It's something that's funny. I also use it when I'm exhausted, like I've had a long day and I'm basically dead. This is when I use this emoji. And the last two that I want to show you are the ones that did kind of shock me a little bit. We have the thumbs up and the heart. So the thumbs up, you might think, okay,
Great job.
approval,
Yeah.
right? Great job, positive. But this is often being used by Gen Z in a sort of sarcastic manner. I do have a Gen Z friend that kind of uses it in this way. And sometimes he'll put like a crying emoji and then the thumbs up. So it gives the feeling of, I'm having a hard time, but I'm trying to
okay.
smile my way through it. And then there's also the heart, which I use a lot in just a genuine kind of soft feeling sort of way. But a lot of people are using this now to mean sort of a banter or a teasing way to respond. Like if someone asks you a question, you say no and you add the heart, it's teasing. It's a little bit sarcastic. So these are some of the emojis that have changed over time. I hope you learned a little something fun, maybe across generations, about how things are changing these days with emojis.
Well, I learned a lot, despite the fact that I am a Gen Zer. Then I want to ask you, Ki, so
Yes.
this is an example from the United States that Brooke introduced, but I heard that there's something similar, a similar pattern in Korea. So could you please walk us through that as well?
So you guys are probably familiar with two caret symbols put together like this.
Oh,
Yes.
What does that mean? Please explain.
2 Shift 6 on your keyboard. So traditionally in Korea, this symbol has been interpreted as a smiley face.
Right.
And when combined with asterisk, that's a Shift plus 8 on your keyboard, like you put it before and after 2 carets like this, it conveys even warmer, more affectionate tone, often evoking smiley face or smiley eyes and gentle charm. So in Western culture, the classic smiley is represented by something like this, right? Clone and closing parenthesis, whereas they emphasize the mouth. This interestingly reflects the broader cultural differences between Western and Eastern people. Western people tend to associate smiley face with mouth, whereas many Asian culture focuses on the eyes when expressing warmth or joy.
Right.
So before we have this colorful emojis became widespread, people used keyboard characters to build emoticons like these. But here's where it gets nuanced. So among younger generations, Koreans, especially Gen Z, symbols like these emojis are sometimes used sarcastically. So the more carets you add, like you have like bunch of these 4, 5, or 6, are the more pointed or mocked in the tone they can be. They also have this semicolon like this, or they sometimes put these two together. So which originally represented nervousness or awkwardness, and think of it like a cold sweat. These days though, it can carry more negative connotation, almost like a subtle way of shaming or expressing discomfort. So the key takeaway is that the meaning of these symbols has evolved significantly across generations, and unless you're aware of those generational shifts, it's easy to misinterpret them, sometimes even thinking the other person is upset or annoyed when that wasn't the intention at all.
Right. So first of all, we have so many emojis and they are leaving room for so many or diverse ways of interpreting them. So I want to ask our panelists, have you ever experienced any awkward moments or misunderstandings because of emojis?
So I was actually obsessed with this guy, semicolons, because I had a thought that the sentence should end with some sort of emoji, this 2 semicolons or quotation marks to put together, because I thought that would look warmer. Which I don't do it anymore because it could cause some negative nuance, or just simply would look weird to some of the people that I was chatting to. Also, some seniors, maybe it's because the way keyboard layout is on the screen of any smartphone for typing typing Korean, they tend to use Korean U, which looks like just a big horizontal straight line.
Like an M-dash.
Right. Towards the end of the sentence, sometimes 2 of them put together, which could translate as I don't like what you're saying, I don't understand you, or just being a bit sarcastic.
Right.
So my mother-in-law had this habit. So when I started having my first Kakao chat with her, I was a bit nervous. I was like, how dare you marry my daughter? So she's showing that in a chat.
Scary.
You must have been so scared.
I thought she didn't like me, but she was doing that to everyone, literally. So I realized that, that was just a habit, but things happen, and that's just how it is.
Wow, what an experience.
Yes.
Do you have any similar experiences or stories, Brooke?
Yeah, it's really such a fun topic today,
Yeah.
but sometimes emojis can be not so fun. So my example is when I was in graduate school here in Korea, I had a ton of group chats for everything, every class I was in, every study group, and they were all in Korean. So as the only foreigner, it was kind of overwhelming for me, especially because Korean people, when they text, they don't put one sentence in one message. It's typically broken up into several. So it might be a simple conversation and you have 300 messages to look through.
I kind of feel guilty.
It's okay. I've learned. I've gotten better. But at one point, one of my classmates, she said something to me in a group chat, but it had kind of a tone of finality to it. There was no question, nothing I had to respond to. So I didn't think anything of it, and I got buried in other messages. But later on, she messaged me in private, and she said, hey, I just wanted to let you know, in Korea, in a group chat, if you don't respond or react to what someone says to you, it can be kind of embarrassing, and it kind of hurt my feelings. So I immediately apologized and told her I didn't realize I needed to react in some way to her message. And now I'm very careful in all of my work chats and friend chats in Korea, because they have that feature now that I always make sure I react or send an emoticon so I can avoid, hurting someone's feelings potentially.
Well, thank you guys both for sharing your interesting experiences. Now, to get a better idea of how our viewers feel, we ran a poll on our Arirang News YouTube channel asking for their take on 4 of the most debated emojis that we just showed you. So for the smiley face emoji, 76% said it conveys a warm, polite smile, while 24% felt it had a subtle sense of discomfort or sarcasm. Now, moving on to the skull emoji, 75% said it signals danger or warning, while 25% says it means dying of laughter. We're gonna move on. For the thumbs up emoji, 92% saw it as an encouragement or approval, while 8% said it means passive aggression. Last but not least, for the heart emoji, 91% said they mean genuine love or affection, while 9% said they symbolize sarcastic expression. All right, so after the break, for more insight on today's topic, we'll speak with a millennial from South Africa. Stay with us.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Welcome back. Joining us today is South African millennial Zeno Slamet. Welcome, Zeno, to the show.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hello. So, Zeno, we'd first like to ask you, emojis like the smiley face, the thumbs up, the heart, and the skull, what do they personally mean to you when you see them in a message as a millennial?
After time, things have changed a lot. At the beginning, you'd think like a laughing emoji might just be laughing, or a skull emoji does actually signal like danger or something. But as times change and you learn how to use these things, it kind of changed for me too. So like I would, for instance, the smiley face, the very cold smiley face, it's kind of a sarcastic thing now. Or like when you're not really happy about something, but you have to act that you're happy. I kind of use that sometimes. And the thumbs up, all I can think about is my dad. Like if you send your dad a long message and you just get a, so that's all I think of when I see the thumbs up. The heart has recently changed a little for me. In the beginning, it was, love. But then recently, I kind of noticed that some people use it to kind of say things that they can't really say very easily. They just add the heart at the bottom just to show so kind of change in a sarcastic way for me as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably heard the very interesting stories from me and Brooke as well. So have you ever had any miscommunication because someone interpreted an emoji differently from what you actually meant?
Not me personally, but I know people around me who has gotten the heart emoji and definitely took it in the wrong way. And I told them first of all, it's not all the colors kind of mean something as well. So if you get like a yellow or purple color heart, that is, I think it's friendship, nothing else. A red one might mean a little more. So I think I had to kind of help a friend out in that way.
That's funny. I was laughing earlier too because of your thumbs up example. I've gotten those from my parents before too, and nothing really hits harder than that okay with the thumbs up from your parents.
Right.
But my question for you is, are there any emojis that carry a unique or maybe unexpected meaning in your country? And if so, could you share an example with us?
Yeah, so we kind of use a pattern of emojis sometimes. So the first one would be because South Africans we love to braai, and braai is also barbecue. So and on a Friday, all South Africans just it's a braai day, you know. So we would send a little chicken wing and a fire with maybe a little beverage, and that means it's time to braai. you know. So I think that's a full South African thing. Everyone would know what you mean, and it kind of also means like if I say with another house as well, it means it's going to be at my house, so everyone can just come to mine. And then we have, Europe has actually have a similar problem at the moment with load shedding, which is like the electricity cuts for a certain amount of time a day. So South Africa, we've been experiencing this for quite some time, years ago, and we've started making jokes and memes about load shedding because as South Africans, we don't take things very serious. And I think that what makes us so unique and funny as well, because all serious matters, we don't really take that seriously. It's like, it's not that deep. So other one would be a flashlight with the rolling eyes and a bulb, meaning it's that time of the evening again, it's load shedding, you know. And then also, because South Africa is very big into sports, especially like cricket, rugby, football. So, and we're striving at the moment in rugby, especially. So when it's that time of the weekend, like Saturday afternoon, if you see a South African flag, it means there's games happening today, and we possibly gonna win. you know. And lastly, also with the skull emoji, it's like the skull emoji, the crying emoji, and the laughing, crying, laughing emoji. It's just like, one crying, laughing emoji means, okay, it's funny. If you have another crying emoji, it's like, okay, that's actually really funny. But you have a skull, it's like, that is top level funny. I'm actually laughing. Because usually when you're sitting at home and you're texting and you send a, a crying, laughing face, it's like you're probably not really laughing. It's maybe like, and that's it. But if you add all the others, it's you. Yeah, you're actually having a laugh. Yeah.
Very eye-opening. All right, Zeno, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye. So I have two questions. I'll ask you guys one each. So, He, what are your thoughts on this evolving meanings of emojis, first off?
Well, memes and emojis aren't just digital expressions. They've actually become part of a generation's cultural identity. So I heard that around 300 new slang terms emerge every year, and so it's only natural that the meanings of emojis evolve from one generation to the next as a reflection of how language and expression shift with time. I guess I'm more of a millennial side where I saw the true evolution of the phone. So back then we all had a landline phone at each household,
Right.
or sometimes two. So my parents or grandparents' generations were not used to texting. Then came pagers, or 삐삐 in Korean, where we used numbers to represent some feelings, like 486 meaning I love you, or 8282 빨리빨리 meaning you gotta be hurrying. And as technology evolves, depending on your plan, we had some limited short free text messages with maybe just 50 words or less, just like a former Twitter or X. So you had to squeeze the text in for a single message where you couldn't waste a single byte on emoji unless
Right.
it's absolutely necessary. So, and then we had a long text, like talk, group chat, and so on. So these changes, I think, is also natural and also had to deal with the technology.
Right. So although this change is not that easy to adapt, it is a natural
It
change.
is natural change, is involvement.
Right. So ending off, Brooke, how can we bridge this so-called generational gap when it comes to digital communication? How can we make this transition smoother?
Well, I think you said the word communication. That is the key. Make room for clarification. Just like my classmate messaged me and asked, hey, did you mean that in a certain way? It's okay to do that. If you're unsure of what the other person's intention was with a certain emoji, or maybe like our guest mentioned, a heart, if you're like, did you mean friendship or more? You can ask that question, and that's the way that we can keep those channels open. Also, I would suggest if you're ever unsure, just call the person.
Right.
Maybe use FaceTime so you can actually see their face. That's a way that you can really tell someone's true intentions. And then I would say if it's a very serious context or perhaps a professional context, maybe limit your use of emojis, at least until you're comfortable with the person and you know that it's going to be okay to do that. I would just say that it's important to have empathy. Remember that not everyone is going to have the same interpretation of everything depending on their age or their culture. And as long as we just communicate with each other, then we can bridge that gap.
Right. So candid conversation and communication leads to, again, smoother communication.
That's right.
All right, and that's all we have for today, but NewsGen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Ki Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Brooke Prince.
Thank you. Today was so fun.
Thank you. And to our viewers, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow on Tuesday. We are
News
Generation.